Chapter 6. More adders. Ginger ale. Untimely flushing. We dance the Sir Roger de Coverley. Are you imagining a romantic scene of distant music, softly scented breezes, and twinkly lanterns, with moonlight falling over everything? Do you picture me beginning to shiver, while Pa wraps me tenderly in my shawl? In your vision, does he leave his arms casually around me as we lean against the balustrade, gazing at the stars? Happy dream! It was crowded on the long brick terrace overlooking the parterre. A parterre, in case you were wondering, I was, turns out to be a chessboard arrangement of flower beds. Now past the season of prime bloom, the four-field parterre minced down to a long lawn which swooped down to the river. Staircases and gravel paths threaded the flower beds, punctuated by large stone urns spilling over with late grasses and vines. On the terrace where we stood, boys in blazers, now and then with a date in a pale dress, jostled one another to get at the food and drinks. Spilled pretzels crunched underfoot. From time to time, clumps of muttering youths burst into wild chortles, as if to celebrate some successful act of wickedness. Released from his guard table, Turkey Face stalked along the edge of the terrace, sniffing the air for illicit smoke. Grandison Parr led me to a sheltered spot by a pair of planters. "What would you like to drink?" he asked. Ginger ale? I hoped the choice wouldn't sound too babyish. "Right, be right back." He pushed his way into the crowd. At first, I kept his golden head in sight, but after he turned around and glanced at me twice, I looked away, embarrassed to be caught staring. When I looked again, he was gone. A long time went by. I played with the fringes of my wrap, braiding and unbraiding them. I wondered whether Ashley was still dancing. I considered going to find her, but decided to stay put in case Parr came back. 3 or 4 gangly boys nearby nudged and punched one another. They ejected one and gave him a little push in my direction. He approached hesitantly. "So, you want to dance?" he muttered, addressing an area a little below my collarbones. He couldn't have been more than 14. "Sorry, I can't. I'm waiting for my escort to come back with a drink," I answered. With a little gulping noise, the boy skittered back to the safety of his companions. A girl in green leaned against my planter, glancing sideways at me. I considered speaking, but decided against it. The girl's escort soon appeared and carried her away to the ballroom. A handsome guy with the look of a large and powerful cat, a junior, I thought, or possibly even a senior, presently took her place. He plucked a pair of cigarettes from his blazer pocket and held them out. "Trade you a smoke for a light," he offered. I shook my head. "Sorry, I don't have any matches." He tucked the cigarettes away and leaned against my planter, his arm touching mine. I edged away, but he relaxed closer to me, keeping his arm in contact with mine. "Sounds like they're finally done with the ancient music," he said after a minute. "Let's go dance." "I can't. I'm waiting for someone." He raised an eyebrow. "You've been waiting a long time. Are you sure he's coming back?" I hesitated, considering what to say. I was beginning to have doubts. The cat guy pressed his advantage. "You seem pretty bored. If you don't want to dance, I'm sure we can find other things to do." He raised the eyebrow even higher. 100 years ago, I thought, would he have twirled a mustache instead? I gripped the planter behind me, wondering how to get rid of him. To my relief, rescue came running up in the form of the person ultimately responsible for my trouble, Ashley. "There you are!" she cried. She turned her head and called behind her, "See, I told you she'd still be here." Parr and Ned followed more slowly, their hands full of drinks they were trying not to spill.
"Sorry that took so long," said Parr. "They didn't have ginger ale at the bar. I had to try 3 different vending machines."
With a flourish, he presented me with a cold can. Glad to have something to do with my hands, I busied myself with it, snapping it open and sipping. The bubbles got up my nose. The feline guy gave me what I imagined he must consider an intimate look, then turned to the newcomers.
"Hey, Parr, your girlfriend here was about to give up on you," he said. "What?" he added. "No drink for me?" "Hello, Chris," said Parr coldly. "I hear Waddles is looking for you. Oh, look, there he is now."
Indeed, Turkey Face appeared to be heading toward us. The cat guy brushed my arm with his hand.
"Catch you later," he said, and melted away in the opposite direction.
"Ig, who was that?" said Ashley. "I don't know. W, maybe?" I suggested, naming a seductive creep in a Jane Austen novel.
"You don't know Chris? Chris Stevens?" said Parr. "He looked as though he knew you pretty well, or wanted to, anyway."
Parr paused, as if deciding whether to say more, then added,
"I hope he wasn't bothering you. I really am sorry I was gone so long." "Grandpa is a stubborn old thing," rumbled Ned. "Ashley told him you'd be just as happy with Sprite or Coke, but he wouldn't believe it. He had to drag us all the way out to the new science library." "I said I'd bring ginger ale," said Parr. "A promise is a promise. If I had known Chris would come sniffing around, was he being obnoxious?"
"Nothing terrible, just asking me to dance," I said.
"Sounds like a plan," said Ned. "The waltzes are finally over. I mean, you waltz beautifully," he added hastily, addressing Ashley. "But now we won't be the only ones dancing. Kids, I mean, not teachers." He trailed off.
"I'm up for it," I said, eager to leave my planter. Gulping down ginger ale, I followed my companions back into the